Hi everyone. After the readings for this week about career opportunities, I want to share a couple of slides with you so you can understand a little bit better the landscape for academia jobs. Also, I wanted to show you where we are. We are in week 11. In the coming weeks, next week, on November 12th and 19th, we have your presentations, and after that, a holiday, and finally, the last class. We are in the verge of the end of the semester, so pay attention to those dates. And here we are, career opportunities. So this week you had three short papers, three short readings about the job market. Hopefully that can give you an idea of what the landscape looks like for engineering education. But I hope with the upcoming slides it will be a little bit more clear to you. So we got three papers. The first one of them is from 2006 from Maura Borrego from Virginia Tech. Basically, they were exploring the engineering education job market. That's basically a snapshot. Take into consideration that this is almost 20 years back now. So at that time, we had certificates, master and PhD in engineering education. The study took a lot of data for that, and it was found that there were a lot of types of positions available in engineering education, including tenure track outside engineering education departments. A lot of things there, like only 33% of the people, of the deans, saw the PhD grads as desirable for tenure track, something to take into consideration, which has been changing, but there is a trend there. There are a lot of opportunities for engineering education faculties, for assessment roles, student success centers, and so on. Opportunities for tenure track and no tenure track. Um, Here, I'm going a little bit quick because I have many things to share with you besides just the summary. For the paper of Benson, Engineering Education Departments, degrees and directions. Also, there are a couple of things that we want to highlight. So, for example, we in this paper, it was pointing out the pioneers departments in the U.S. were Virginia Tech, Utah State University, Clemson, and there were, and I say there were because we are talking about 2006 for this paper also. A lot of high demand in academia, in industry and government, several type of roles and things like that. So it was looking good at that time. Here, there's one of the tables from the paper, and also pointing out a lot of things about the pioneers in with PhD program engineering education. But as right now, the engineering education program at Clemson University was shut down. I think it was this summer. So, yeah, and that has to be with the funding cuts all around the U.S. Also, Utah State University is closing as department next year, I believe, if I will remember. So there are a lot of changes going on all around the state, things to take into consideration. Last paper from Rose, Career Auctions in Engineering Education. There are multiple auctions when not just engineering education, but it depends if you go to a research university, if you go to a teaching university, if you want to be a lecturer, adjunct faculty. There are tenure track and no tenure track positions, and it depends in each one of them. There are some of them are more difficult than others to get into. The interview processes is more intense, but in the end, it is up to you to decide if you are going for a research or a teaching position. In my case, I'm a lecturer right now, so that will give you a perspective of what to expect. So for example, here there's a large table, but this is important because this is the teaching load credits per year, usually spring and fall. So if you are in a research university, being in a tenure track, you can expect 9 credits for the year, teaching load for the year. If you are in a research university but you are a lecturer, you are expected to have 18 credits, 9 credits every semester. That's roughly an estimate, and there are other options. There are options about TAs, sabbaticals, funding, and all those parameters has to be taken into consideration at the time of decision. So how do you get a job in academia? The process, there is a hiring process and there is an interview process. The following slides were taken from Professor David Arnold from the faculty development course. So they are really important. This is just a summary. I didn't take all the slides, but what I consider most relevant for this class. So for example, here again, these are slides. I think that's from 2020, if I will remember. That was the landscape of institutions in the US at the time. Well, actually, it's to 2015, this figure. So at that time, doctoral universities having doctoral degrees were 7%, about 335 universities in all states, all US. Master colleges and universities, there were 741, 16%, and associates college, 24%, about 1,113. So that's something to take into consideration. When we're talking about enrollment, doctoral universities has had an enrollment of 6.5 millions, the same as associate colleges. Master colleges and universities, 4.4 millions. So that should give you an idea what kind of universities or where are the jobs in academia. So another thing to take into consideration is the Carnegie classifications. So as per 2020, there were 130 universities in the R1 classification, 132 for the R2, and 161 for the R3. UF is an R1. R1's university are universities with doctoral degree available, and they are very high research activity, and R2 are considered high research activity. That's something also to consider. But why this matter? Depending the university you come from, where you get your degrees, or where you were working previously, it will help you or not to getting in the ladder. So for example, MIT might be considered a tier 1 university, UF a tier 2, and UCF a tier 3 for many reasons. So it is really easier for a graduate from MIT to be higher at UF. But it will be more difficult from a UCF graduate to be higher from UF. So the way that it works, sometimes you can study at UF and then get a postdoc at the MIT, and then you can get hired as a faculty for at UF, and the thing will go reversing somehow between UCF and UF. This is a very generic example, but in real life, that's the way it works. So, how do you get hired? There are several steps that happens before you get hired. There is a decision at department or university level to hire someone. They create a search committee, about 5 to 8 people, depending of the university. There is a job posting. Then that job posting get, let's say, hundreds of applications. Yours will be there. They the committee get about for a screening about 10 of those 100. After reviewing their CVs and their package, they will talk with about, let's say, 10 people. And from there, after that initial interview, that could be through Zoom, phone, or whatever, usually they invite 3 people, the finalists, for an on-site interview, and after that they offer a job offer to just only to one of them. Then there is some negotiation and hopefully a start date. So here on the right there is a typical timeline. Postings they go open now in the fall, and basically for now we are in 2025, so a start date will be late summer 2026. So if you are almost graduating, you should be submitting your application to university, because they are hiring, they are looking for people, and the deadline probably it is about the end of the year, because interviews go from January to March depending, and offer kind of beginning of April, and then there is some time for negotiation. That it works pretty much for all university in that way. It might be slightly different for some, but that's the expectation, and you need to play with those times. So what do you need for your application? I mean, we can talk really long about about the content of these documents. And remember that this is just a summary from the slides that I took. But basically, you need a complete CV, very complete, the most complete as possible, a cover letter, a research statement, teaching statement, diversity statement, reference letters between 3 to 5, and some sample journals or conference articles. That's pretty much what most of the university ask in your package. Sometimes they might not ask for diversity, and they might ask for something else. It depends on the university, but along those lines, that's why you need to have teaching and research statement. Depending the type of application or requirement, they might put more attention to research if you are looking for a tenure track position. But if it is for a teaching position, they will look at your teaching statement, and instead of research statement, they might ask for a visual or your plan for your vision for the position or for the university. Usually when you have this package, you got a phone interview, one on-site interview, there is a post-visit negotiation, and then you get a typical startup package that might change or between universities, but that's what you get. So here in numbers, 200, between 200 and 300 is typical to get applicants, and then phone interview between 8 and 10. 2 to 4 people gets invited, and then one receives the offer. If you get in the last 2 3, it is yours. Just don't blow it, make the things right. Once you get between the finalists on site, that means that you are really close. So the interview on site, typical three candidates, it might be 1 or 2 days. The typical schedule is you arrive the first date, the second date you get breakfast, and all day meetings, all days until dinner is a very busy day. And then day three usually is optional. They give you a housing tour and then you leave. That's what you do. In my case, particularly, I was living here in Gainesville, so it was just 1 day because I didn't have to arrive, I didn't have to leave. I was just here. So, but it doesn't matter if you are far away. They paid all the cost. They fly you over from any place to any state. So that's why it takes 3 days. The itinerary, usually that day you have meetings for half an hour, something like that, with the dean, with the department chair. You have anything between 4 to 6 one-on-one meetings with faculties from the department, because this is a great opportunity to meet your future colleagues, and also they want to know if you are going to be a fit in the department. You might have group meetings with other faculties, sometimes students. Then there is the seminar that you have to conduct, meals. There's meetings through Zoom meals, and then you might visit facilities because you need to get over everything. The seminar, in my case, because it was a teaching position, I needed to give 2 talks. There was one about my vision, and the other one was a teaching demo. But when it is a tenure track position, you need to do a research presentation and a couple of slides about teaching experience and funding experience, something like that. There might be many different people on those interviews or on those presentations. Typically is 1 hour that takes that presentation. There will be faculty, department chairs, students, and you can expect questions from anybody about anything. Lastly, I want to show you, I want to tell you that part of the negotiation or part of the talks that you might expect is negotiating in a startup package. So, especially if you are applying for a job that is in another state, another city, you might negotiate some relocation expenses, student support to students 2 years, summer salary, reduced teaching service load. At the beginning, you want time to prepare your classes, so you might negotiate not having so much load at the beginning. Direct research expenses like having an office computer, printer, lab equipment, materials. You want to get going right away. You might negotiate some things like that. Major equipment and some free discounts on campus resources like Hypergator, let's say, things like that you can negotiate. With that, I hope that you have a good overview what are the types of, of academic jobs or the expectation that you can get. It doesn't matter your field. That's what's going to happen. Finally, after class activities, remember there is an assignment for turning in the synthesis paper draft. And for November 12th, even if you didn't type your name there, I did it for you for the people that were missing. We are expecting for November 12th, James, Dominic, Van Dan, uh, uh, Son, Teresa, Mahmoud, and Bri. All of you are expected to do your presentation for November 12th and the rest for November 19th. So I see you next time, and I hope this is useful for you for about careers opportunities.